Welcome back to another dramatic reading video. When we left off in Rendan, Dragons of Prior, Chapter 9, things seem to be getting a little bit more spicy. Rendan Sen Tarkin, offense master of the Prior fleet, was having some vivid fantasies about his mate. And apparently they're going to go for a walk, and I feel like things are about to happen, so... let's put on our reading spectacles and jump in. Carla wanted to be completely alone with Rendan, but she figured she'd take a picnic on the beach, though eventually she wanted to be naked and horizontal with a large Prior warrior. Yesterday had been magical, and now she wanted more. So much more. Rendan twined their fingers together? What? Keeping her at his side as they strode through the hallways of Prior Tower. They turned this way and that, winding from Medical Bay to the beach. What? This is so confusing. The passages were a twisted maze that she wasn't sure she'd ever learn. As long as she had Rendan at her side, she didn't care. Offense Master, a voice shouted. Offense Master! A shout came from their left. A male approaching quickly. It wasn't until the stranger had nearly reached them that she recognized the Prior. Balakin. The space between her shoulders itched, the hair on the back of her neck rising, and the air seemed to grow slick and oily with his presence. She stepped closer to Rendan, needing the weight of his arm around her shoulders and the protection of his wing. She wasn't even sure why, really. Sure, he'd annoyed her when Rendan had been injured, but that wasn't enough to cause her pure disgust. Yet, it was there, covering her with the taint. What is happening? The closer Balakin drew, the more her tension increased. Rendan stiffened at her side, as if he read her unease and prepared for battle. Good. Something told her she could never turn her back on the male. What the frick is happening? Why do you feel the need to explain every minute detail in a disgusting amount of depth? Like, come on. She's just saying, oh, this guy's coming close, and I feel bad about it. But then it goes on for 3 paragraphs. Like, seriously. Just know when enough is enough. Rendan's wing curled around her even tighter, holding her close, and she was glad when all Balakin did was glare and then stomp off. They remained in position, her mate's body tense as he... What? Her mate's body tense and wary until Balakin whipped around a distant corner. The second he was out of sight, she spoke. I don't like him. He makes me... She shuddered. I just don't. Rendan brushed a soft kiss across her forehead. You are not alone, Shah Soma. You are not alone. Which gave her a measure of relief. At least he was troubled by the male, too. But he is a matter for another time. I will speak with him tomorrow. Rendan nuzzled her temple. For now, we have a date with the beach. Except the door to the beach happened to be the one Balakin disappeared through. The mere idea of following in his footsteps, being near him in any way, turned her stomach. Her mate took a step towards the door, but she remained in place, fingers squeezing his bicep. Then, well, when had she grabbed his arm? She wasn't sure, but Carla couldn't make herself release him. She couldn't force her feet into movement or the new tension to leave her body. He wondered what was going on, and Carla admitted she wanted to know as well. She swallowed hard, belly twisting. Can we just watch the sunset somewhere else? Anyway, anywhere that meant she didn't have to trace Balakin's steps. Rendan cupped her cheek, gently forcing her to raise her attention to him. His warmth sank into her blood, heating her and banishing some of the coldness that came from Balakin's appearance. Why is that important? I want answers. He stroked her cheekbone with his calloused thumb, the rough texture soothing. It was a reminder that her mate was there, with her, at her side, and prepared to keep her safe. She trusted him. It was easy to trust him with her body. What? He'd caught her as he'd promised, but she was ready to trust him with her heart. Oh, we can view the changing colors from Prior's roof. He repeated the soft caress. What troubles you, my Carla? Carla was quick to shake her head. Nothing. I will protect you from anything, anyone. You need never fear now that I have found you. He leaned down and pursed his lips, aiming for her forehead, but she wanted more than that. She wanted to feel his lips on hers. She tilted her head back and pushed to her tiptoes, rising to meet his mouth. The initial touch was a gentle brush of the lips, a barely there caress that ended as quickly as it began. Carla, he rasped. Her name a curse and a plea. Rendan, she returned, her tone the same as his. Needy. Oh no. I got a feeling this is going to get bad fast. They'd gotten to know one another, and now she wanted more. Strong arms wrapped around her, the hall's light quashed? The hall's light quashed by his large wings. The next kiss was filled with The next kiss was filled with banked passion, barely controlled desire, imbuing every moment. His mouth skated over hers, the small connection sending a tremor of want down her spine. Carla didn't hesitate to open for him, to part her lips and beckon for a taste. And Rendan didn't hesitate to take. His tongue delved into her mouth, stroking her, caressing and exploring the moist cavern. She did the same to him, pressing closer to his body while she gathered every hint of his natural flavors. Hot and sweet, spicy with a hint of sugar, scorching flames banked by the delicate hint of honey. His tongue delved into her mouth, stroking her, caressing, and exploring the moist cavern. That was literally the same sentence. That is just a copy-paste. Start of the paragraph. His tongue delved into her mouth, stroking her, caressing, and exploring the moist cavern. End of paragraph. His tongue delved into her mouth, stroking her, caressing, exploring the moist cavern. This is like filler. This is the textbook definition of filler. Anyway, delicious, tempting, alluring. Hers. Carla traced the length of his muscular arms, fingers dancing over the carved lines of his body before finally wrapping her arms around his neck. She pulled against him, fighting to get even closer. She wanted skin on skin, their bodies intertwined and rolling across a silken blanket of some stupid word. Oh no! Her nipples pebbled, hardening within the silk and lace of her and she ached to have them caressed, touched, and stroked by his hands, his mouth, anything. Whoa, this is getting out of hand fast. Okay. She wanted him all. She twined her tongue with his, their bodies moving in a sensuous rhythm as old as time itself, the gentle and seductive thrust and retreat, their tongues mimicking what she craved. Heated, a low ache forming and gradually spreading. Jeez. Twitched in the juncture of her thighs, grew heavy with unsated desire. Whoa, that's too much. Holy crap. Whoa, okay, Rendan's wings remained in place, but that didn't mean his hands were idle. He stroked her back, tracing her spine, and then rested his palms on the upper curve of her ass. He kneaded and squeezed the globes of her butt? What? The frick is happening? The rough touches adding to the need simmering beneath the surface. She was desperate for him, to have his fingers very deep inside her. She wanted him to suck. I can't read this. She wanted him to suckle her nipples. And to roar her name while he filled her with his. No! 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 No. Carla shuddered, the stark, animalistic need surprising her, but she didn't push it away. She embraced the desire, the heat sufficing her body, and the utter craving to be possessed by Rendan. She whimpered and moaned, practically climbing him in an effort to get closer, to take more from her mate. Her mate. Her mate that she wanted to mate. Cal, stop. For hours, days, weeks, forever. One of Rendan's thighs slipped between hers, his thick leg snug between her aroused flesh, and she whined with pleasurable pressure. Oh, Rendan, she whimpered and rocked her hips, looking for more from him. Stop. Oh. He moaned in response, his hands gripping her and lifting her, and she wrapped her legs around his waist. Then they were moving, his head heavy... What? He moaned and... Oh... Soma, he murmured against her mouth, and then captured her lips once more, sliding his tongue between them. She moved in time with him, her hips rolling while she pretended to F him with her tongue. Oh, she needed desperately, and he didn't seem to mind that she took exactly what she craved. Oh, the hard line of his rubbed against her. Rubbed against her. His thick length caressing her through layer after layer of fabric and katoth. She tightened her legs, using the wall at her back and the grip on his shoulders as leverage so she could snatch every ounce of available pressure. Oh, her rippled. What? Empty, sheath tightening and slightly begging to be stretched. Oh, God! Oh! To be stretched and filled by him. Her twitched and jerked with each flex of muscle, her arousal blossoming into undeniable pleasure. Carla dug her fingers into his shoulders, fighting for more of him, demanding he give her everything, while not saying a single word. She wanted more, more, more! She nipped his lower lip, groaning when he returned the favor, and then laughed at the tiny sting he caused. And then she murmured, loving the way his name sounded on her tongue. It wouldn't take much longer to make her... to find her ultimate release and scream his name. Carla! He rasped, his chest heaving. With each inhale, he stroked her nipples, teasing her aching nubs. I can't read this anymore. Ugh. Offense master, a male voice intruded on them. Perhaps you'd like to return to bed rest as ordered. A male voice she recognized. Carla groaned, her arousal vanishing in a blink. Thank goodness. Rendan snarled, his hands leaving her while he whirled to face the newcomer. And the male? Chashan merely chuckled. Cockblocked by her boss. And was it really being cockblocked since her mate was a prior? In truth, she'd been word-blocked. Whoa. But no matter what his dick was called, it ended with Carla wholly and completely unsatisfiedly blocked. Stop. Just stop. Please. Not for long, Shashama. Her mate's wicked gaze met hers, his rumbling voice filling her mind. Not for long. Chapter 11. I don't want to read this anymore.
And I'll see you, and you'll see free.